Okay. Hey Virgo, welcome to my channel. So I'm about to do a reading for September for you. Yes, what's up, Bugs? Yeah, there is. Okay. Yeah, I'll do it later for you, Bug. So I have my 3-year-old here. But we're just laying out the cards. Okay, guys. So, September, we're kind of having these loving vibes. These readings are kind of like a love reading, especially the center column. So how I'm doing it is self, relationships, and then advice on how to get the best outcome in this final column. Kind of future outcome, but it's like more of advice on how to get the best outcome for yourself in regards to relationships. We have just had Venus in retrograde and we have Mercury in retrograde. Well, I literally am in Venus and Mercury as I record this. And I'm finding now as we come out of this Venus in retrograde, it's kind of like the focus on relationships comes to a much more positive, like we are surrounded by love this month, which is probably a great relief for many of us, right, Virgo? This first card is self-respect. So it's basically saying this is the column of self. It's like what you need to be doing is making sure that you are respecting you and your decisions, and not necessarily putting everybody else before yourself. I get this sense of you feeling as though you have to put others before yourself all the time. And that's the thing, it's like, no, you don't have to. You are maybe doing that, but it doesn't mean that you have to do that. What will happen if you don't? Try it. Let's have a look. What happens if you start respecting you and being true to yourself, and saying no once in a while? What will happen? Likelihood is that they'll probably either figure it out themselves or go and get someone else to help them, right? You don't have to be the everything for everybody. And in fact, you should not be that. Because it takes a toll on ourselves. And when we don't respect ourselves and respect our own energy and what we need to be doing for ourselves, and sometimes that is literally just saying, no, I don't want to come out this weekend because I was planning on doing nothing and I need some downtime because I've been working really hard lately. Yes, I understand it's your birthday, but I'm really tired. So we can celebrate your birthday another time. It's like, I just feel as though sometimes there's a lot of pressure on yourself to always just be the one that's there, always putting, again, what other people need before what your body's crying for. And I do get the sense of you just needing to do something different for yourself that might be difficult because other people might be wanting you to do what they want you to do. But again, you have to realize that's not your problem. And I think that is definitely what's needed here for you, Virgo. This card is be gentle to yourself, be kind to yourself, but overall be true to yourself. And the next card is explore your options. And again, this kind of touches on what I was saying. It's like, what happens if you are not the person everybody else wants you to be? What happens? Explore your options. And that's exactly what they would do. They would then explore their options. Now this is coming to you. You don't always have to do things a certain way. And I get this feeling of wanting to be in control, wanting things to go whether a certain way or smoothly or perfectly. It's like a lot of pressure on yourself. And with this card, I say that there's a lot of options and a lot of ways of doing things. And I feel like there's a freedom for you in doing things differently to perhaps how you might have done them previously. I do get this sense of you needing to kind of take a fun journey. So whether this is go traveling or go on holiday or something. Yeah, food for thought there with that. With what this could mean. This is something to do with, like, yeah, going out and enjoying yourself. Is what I'm kind of feeling this need to tell you to just go, have fun, do what you need to do. You may actually even have travels this month already planned, but again, explore. I feel as though, again, don't just settle with playing it safe. Do things which might be a little bit out of your comfort zone, and do things that you want to do and not just, again, what everybody else wants you to do. Final card in this column is reversed, so pay attention. It's saying your children are watched over by angels. Now this can literally mean literally your children, if you have children, are watched over by angels. But this also means that you are divinely guided. It's saying that what you're going through at the moment is for a purpose, for spiritual growth. So your angels are with you, your ancestors are with you, they are protecting you during this time of while you are growing and learning and going through what you are. And it basically says that you are protected so that no matter what, the outcome of this will be in your favor. It will be, again, personal growth here. It can mean, again, if you do have children, that if you're going through something where you're concerned of them, it's kind of saying there's no need for this concern. They are safe, so kind of release your worries in there. So if that applies to you, there you go. This column, relationships. It's time to leave an unhealthy situation. So if you are in an unhealthy relationship, it's time to drop that. Now, if you're in a relationship and it's not toxic, it's not unhealthy, potentially there's just room in there, like some kind of limiting belief or something limiting you that's not really true and authentic within your relationship. This can be that perhaps one person in the relationship is not fully open to sharing your relationship, or it can be that maybe you're not giving your all, or maybe they're not giving their all, or maybe you went into this relationship thinking that you didn't want commitment, but now that you do. And it's basically about changing the limiting belief so that it fits in with the relationship. Now, this can mean that you have got these like little struggles, maybe arguing a lot. We've had Venus in retrograde, right? So anything during this Venus in retrograde that's been highlighted is basically saying that this is not in alignment with actually a true relationship that is worthy of you and your desire of connection. And it could be limiting you, or you could be limiting the relationship. So keep that in mind. Again, if you are in a toxic relationship, it's like saying it's time now. Now you need to get out. Now you need to move on from this. It's the first card, so it literally is like, let's go. This is what we need to tackle first. It's like, get out of this unhealthy situation. And again, like I said, doesn't necessarily mean leave a relationship, but it does if it's toxic to you. It's saying get out. There's no advice around this. It's like leave. So just I just want to put that out there, because you should never, ever, ever put your safety of your heart, your mind, or your soul, or your body before. I mean, that should always be before anything else. You should never put the danger, the safety of it at risk. I hope that makes sense. I got a little bit muddled up with that words. The next card is reverse, saying pay attention, shield. Protect yourself. Now, this card also means not allowing the opinions and words and attitudes of others impacting you and your mind and your energy, basically. It's basically saying shield yourself from the opinions of others. This is time for you to do what's right for you. Now, this can mean that it's a very vulnerable time, so be wary that you could be susceptible to the opinions of others. And potentially, what's kind of coming through is like maybe you are worried about what other people will think of your relationship. Now, I'll use a critical example. For example, if you are in a gay relationship and you're not out of the closet, or maybe you are but not fully, or there's certain people you feel would ridicule, maybe that's a potential limiting belief that you need to let go of. Yes, people might judge you. People will judge you if you're in a straight relationship. People will judge you if you're in a gay relationship. People will judge you if you're not in a relationship. People are gonna judge you. That's their trauma. That's their karma. That's what they're going through, right? That's not on you. And if you allow yourself to make decisions based on the opinions of others, you're never gonna live authentically to you. You're never gonna have happiness, because again, you're living by other people's laws and rules that are just not things we want in this world. They're not laws that apply to you unless you make them be that way. And that's a limiting belief. That's something that limits you from living to your full potential, and again, from your growth in this lifetime. And potentially losing relationships, because they deserve better than you being limiting. You deserve better than them being limiting. Keep that in mind. You know this already. I'm just reminding you. And again, this is exactly in reverse, so pay attention. Both of these cards, this is be gentle with yourself. Both of these cards mean that. Be kind. Now, I know I'm giving you a slap on the wrist if you are having limiting beliefs. Partially because I go through something very similar myself, and it's very frustrating. But also, like, you need to realize, again, you are a vulnerable person. We all are very vulnerable. And so that's partially, like, those fears are blockages, and basically keeping us from the happiness that we all deserve and are worthy of. But again, we all go through these struggles for a reason. There's growth here. These two cards together are saying be kind to yourself and protect your energy. There is a potential risk of it bringing, again, unhappiness. And brought back to like traveling. Maybe you're traveling away from a partner for some time. There could be some little struggles of understanding and communication with this. So be open to again exploring your options on how to be creative to keep a relationship alive, or whether it's time for you to move on from that. But either way, I feel like you need to make sure that you are taking care of number one, and just protecting your energy from, again, the opinions of others, and realize again that's not you, it is them. And even though it hurts, honor that feeling. But again, if you are true to yourself and the people that you love, it's a worthy feeling to feel. Sometimes we feel heartache in the right choices as much as we do in the wrong choices, because there's always grieving room. And I have, weirdly, so for these second loads of readings that I'm doing, I do them in order at the moment. I'm kind of shaping up. So I start with Aries and ending with Pisces. So we are on the second group of 4, and you both kind of have this different change from the first 4 readings. Like, they were very much like love readings. This to me is much more of like a growth reading where it mentions grief, and honoring and understanding that there is grief in love and heartache, and it can be in losing an object, losing a friend, losing loved ones, losing ourselves, like a past self. When we are changing, it's a good thing. It's growth, it's real, it's love, but there's a loss there too. You're losing maybe the protective armor that you've always had, and there's this shedding process. We need to honor the grief that we're always going through, because a lot of the time I feel like previously we've had fast-paced lives where these griefs just been suppressed and we don't face it. And I feel like we're now astrologically coming to a space where it's all catching up with us. So now we are being very emotional beings. We are being very vulnerable and sensitive. And it's awesome because we're starting to be authentic and true and feel things that we've not allowed ourselves to feel for some time. But that's scary and it's painful. You have to allow yourself to feel that. Now, again, this column is the guidance on how to get the best outcome, right? We have this situation is already resolved. It's saying that what you're going through is for a reason. It's your on the right track card. And it's basically saying like the hard times are over. The situation is resolved. So just kind of allow yourself again to feel what you need to feel. Prayer will help you with this situation. Both of these cards are saying that have faith, and you are supported and guided through this. Both of these cards are saying basically, this was meant to happen. And if you need some inner guidance, trust in your intuition, trust in your heart and what feels right for you as well. But again, lean on your spirit team, lean on your people in your life that are a great support because they are here for you. But fundamentally, as long as you're staying true to you, everything will be okay. Detached from the situation. This card basically is like look at things from a different perspective, right? Now in this, I've got this sense of limiting beliefs coming from you, Virgo. Now, detached from a situation could be that you're so stuck in your head and being so stubborn that you're not seeing things in the way that you need to see them. So it's kind of like take a step back and kind of look at this place from a place of love, and understanding that absolutely every person makes decisions from a place of love, right? For example, sometimes people they break up with somebody and they're very cruel and cold about it because they think that's the best way to do that. They think that if I act like I don't care, it'll be easier on them. They'll let go of me easier because they'll hate and resent me. And that is coming from a place of love, even though to that other person going through that, that's horrific. It's so painful to love someone and then have them be so cold and horrible to you, and you think this is not the person I loved, and it makes you question who you are, trust in anybody. I kind of have gone through that myself. It's like people portray themselves to be a certain way until they're not getting what they want, and then they be really horrible, really cruel, and start making choices and decisions that you can't understand because you understand that person and that's not the person that you understood. And again, so it it literally turns your whole insides to turmoil because you don't know what to trust and believe anymore, even in yourself, because what you know to be true is now being questioned because of how that person treated you. And then from outside of that, you now don't trust people, you don't trust relationships, you're being treated horribly, so you feel like your value is unworthy. Okay, thank you, Bugs. I'll do it in a moment. I'm on the last card. So what I'm saying is, like, that person is still coming from a place of love, but you are impacted by that, or they are impacted by it. Reverse it. So it's just a scenario to give you a reading on the energy with this, of understanding that the actions of like absolutely nearly everybody other than a sociopath or a psychopath comes from a place of love. I mean, maybe they do come from a place of love that not anybody can understand unless you're also a sociopath or a psychopath. But what I'm saying is, general ordinary people, love is generally always the reasons for any action, but the way that other people think is not necessarily the same way you think. And I just kind of feel for you detaching from the situation, realizing that there's love there even if you do not see it. I feel like it could be very good healing for you. In terms of having your own limited belief, I feel like you need to see the love coming from you more so than anything else as well. I do get this be a very confusing time for you, and this is why I feel like you need to step back from the really full emotions of everything to see a little bit more objectively of the workings of the whys. That sounds really, really cryptic. But it's just kind of like sometimes when we feel so much, it just hurts and we can't understand why. But if we look at things individually, like heartache, why am I feel heartbroken? Because I've been betrayed. And then honor that feeling, cry it out, feel it, like you have been betrayed, right? You have this feeling of that you're never going to meet anyone else again. You know that's not true. And yet you feel it. So feel it, honor it. And then realize the actual truth behind it. Detach from it and say, it's because I love so deeply. That's why I feel that way. I loved that person so deeply. I just couldn't imagine being with anyone else. Now, I'm not saying you're going to go through a breakup. I'm literally giving examples of how to detach from situations. So don't get all worried if that does not apply to you. I can sense that there is a relationship turmoil for you. Perhaps you're recovering from it this month, or you are going to go through it this month, but I don't feel that's for everybody. I do feel like there's grief within your relationships, but just more as in it's bringing you closer rather than apart. But for some of you, I mean, like at the end of the day, we're not all meant for each other, and we're not always, the relationships we're in are not always meant to last forever. And that's something that as humans we are learning, that every relationship we have is unique and has its purpose. But it is hard letting go and understanding that. So be kind to yourself. But again, I just feel like there is growth here, not necessarily breakups. So do not be, fearing the worst and allowing that to hinder your growth here. That would not be productive, and it's a time for you to really take care of your heart and protect yourself in a way that is honoring yourself and not suppressing and separating yourself from the world. I hope that makes sense. I just feel this time of vulnerability for you, which is really great. So thank you so much for being here, Virgo. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next month. Thank you, guys.